Hi, how's it going? Welcome back to the Manufacturing Come Up. We have a special guest today, Hallie Haupt, and hopefully I didn't pronounce her name wrong because I can barely spell in English or any other language for that matter. Glad to have you on the show today.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. So, background of the podcast, we talked a little bit off screen, but we like to dive back into people's history, kind of what kind of adversities they've went through in life, what kind of things that they've experienced to get them to where they are in their career today. And then also, second half of this podcast will be more around how can other individuals increase their self in their career throughout all periods of their life. Are they still in high school? Are they in college? Are they already in a position of employment and maybe they're just looking to grow within that career? So yeah, if you would kind of take us back as far as you want to take us back. This episode of the Manufacturing Come Up is sponsored by Elite Automation.
Elite Automation is focusing on AMR technologies. AMRs are autonomous mobile robots used in your facility to transfer goods or products from one side of your facility to the other.
This is a super powerful tool, and it's a new piece of technology that us as systems integrators can utilize as a tool to leverage your company to be more advanced than the next company and be able to automate systems that at one point were not able to be automated.
If you have any AMR needs, you can reach us at rfq@eliteautomationusa.com.
Oh, geez. Okay. So degree-wise, it's funny. I have an associate's degree in media and communications. So it has absolutely nothing to do with CNC shops, which is where I landed. But I think that the degree helps me a lot in my career now because I'm in a marketing role. So I do the photography, videography, graphic design, motion graphics. And in college, I did a little bit of drawing too. So that all helped me get to where I am today, which is great. It is kind of funny though. I don't know if this is fate or not, but the building that I was in at college was the advanced technology building. So you'd walk into this commons area, and to the right were the media classes, and to the left were the CNC machining classes. And in the CNC machining hallway was this ice cream vending machine, and I love ice cream. So I would always walk down this hallway and look into these classrooms and be like, what are they doing? What are these machines? And then here I am, like 4 or 5 years later, in these shops working near this machinery all the time. And like I said, I don't know if it's fate, but I'm here. So
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. So that was during your high school time?
That was college.
College. Got you. And so what is more of your upbringing look like?
So I didn't see myself going into this field at all. In high school, I went to a small high school. I graduated with 46 people. I was like the shy in my box little girl. No one thought that I would ever end up here, honestly. But talking in front of people was something I never imagined myself doing because I couldn't even do it in front of people I knew. But I did a lot of creative things when I was in high school. So I did a lot of the photography, which I still do today because I have a little side gig going on. But it was more like creative stuff, which kind of led into this, I would say so. But yeah, I was really a completely different person in high school than what I am now. So it's weird to see that growth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many people that knew me back in my high school times, and they're like, "Dude, I cannot believe you're where you're at." Like,
right.
They knew I always used to hustle, but like I was hustling in other ways.
Right. I think I didn't really, not that I didn't hustle, but I feel like I didn't apply myself enough. So it's also super weird to see that now, like,
yeah,
because I do so many different things now than what I would have done back then.
Like much more outgoing, like pursuing many more things.
Yeah, definitely. A lot more outgoing, out of the box, stepping out of my comfort zone, which is something I never thought I would do. So it's really cool to see that.
So did you kind of just work your way through high school? Like, did you get okay grades? Like, what did that process look like?
Yeah, I got okay grades, but it was like, I kind of had this mentality that I wasn't going to go anywhere in life, which is super bad to set yourself up for that in high school. But like, I could have done better, I feel like we all say that. I got okay grades and I was involved in sports and student council and a bunch of like extracurricular activities, but it wasn't like, I could have done better, honestly. So It's definitely different to see myself engaging in things now because I wouldn't have done that back then.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of experienced that same thing as well. So it was like whenever I was coming up, I never really thought that like I could do really much of anything. I didn't have anybody like guiding me to even go to college, or I kind of just guided myself to go to college because I knew that if I kept just working regular 9 to 5 jobs and being machine operators and stuff like that, that it was going to I was going to keep hitting roadblocks. And also back at this period of time, you were looking at making $8 an hour, and you're lucky to make $12 an hour. The market's definitely kind of changed, and you can be a lot more successful in just being a machine operator now.
Right.
Making $17, $22 an hour with jobs like that. But I think a lot of people struggle with not having a direction, and also just not even feeling like they have the capability to do anything outside of high school or anything for that matter.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't say I wasn't pushed to go to college, because I definitely was. I had like grandparents telling me, you need to go. So I went. And it was a great experience, but I didn't think it was for me.
Right. Did your grandparents push for you to go to college? Was that pretty impactful for you actually going to college?
I would say it was pretty impactful. I had some grandparents who were like, we'll help you if you just go. So I was like, okay, well, I can't really beat that, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have a job throughout high school. So I was like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to jump into that. So I was like, I should just go, because I know school. I know how that rolls. So I just kind of went and did that. So yeah, I would say that they really impacted that.
Gotcha. And how was your shift into college?
Oh, it was different. I remember my first day of college, and I just went to a community college, so it's not too much different, but going from 46 people where I had classrooms with maybe 10 people in my classes to a class with like 60 people, or running around campus with like hundreds of people. It was so different. And I remember going to class my first day, and I was like, I'm a social butterfly if I know you. But at that point I was like, I don't know anyone. I was sitting in my seat, like sweating. I couldn't wait to get out of there and go home. I was just like, oh my gosh. But I developed, I got better throughout college, but that first transition was definitely scary for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of the same way. I'm like very introverted in groups
Mm-hmm.
where I don't know the individuals, but after I get to know people, then, it's no problem to start the conversation.
Right. Yeah. I'm the same way.
What college did you go to?
I went to Macomb Community College.
Macomb Community.
Yes.
Okay. I'm also a community college graduate.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah. I mean, like, say for instance, like for the program that I went through, I mean, Toyotas are hiring at like $26, $30 something an hour, like right out of college. And
Right.
Also even having programs that while you're in college, you're making $17, $18 an hour. I think it was like $18 an hour, like 5 years ago. I don't know what it is today.
I'm guessing higher.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be. The market's crazy for all jobs, really, as far as where pay rates have been.
Right.
So going through college, what was your transition from college into real world life and working a job?
We'll say being an adult was hard. No. It wasn't too bad of a transition, because when I graduated college, I actually worked for the college in the counseling office for about a year. So it wasn't too much of a huge shift for me, because I was used to all of that, right? I'd spent 4 or 5 years at the college. So I was like, I'm used to this. And then it was March of 2020, COVID happened, and I got laid off. And they told me it was going to be like a month, and it ended up being 3 to 4. And I was like, I can't do this. And at the college, I worked part-time. So I wasn't really used to like a full-time position just yet. But I had some people in the industry that I knew, and they had a CNC shop and they needed help. So I was like, I'll go help them. And then I just transitioned into that. And it was super hard for me because I knew nothing about the industry.
Yeah.
Nothing. I didn't even know it was an industry or what they did or the extensive work that we do here. So it was just insane.
Yeah, it's like a completely dark room.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like, with me being the owner of Elite, even though I've been in the industry, I think 10 years now, whenever I started the company, I realized like, holy cow, like I for sure have been kept in the basement my entire career. I didn't attend any events for our industry. I've attended other events, but yeah, I didn't attend any of those things or really have a whole heck of a lot of customer interaction throughout my career with a 9-to-5 employer. I was mainly the guy doing project management, programming, a lot of the stuff nobody sees, and then becoming a business owner, now you have to see the industry as a whole and see what's going on, see what manufacturers are doing, seeing what other automation companies are doing, what the market looks like for hiring, firing, like all these different things, right? There's so many other topics and whole nother world that's out there outside of just like this one little job that you do, or when you go to school, what you think it's like out in the real world.
Right. Yeah. I feel like being an owner is like a totally different point of view than when you're an employee working in like a facility.
Yeah.
So
I would say like one of the major benefits of it is it's so expansive to your mind. Like there's so many things I had to learn and figure out that are just because like I have to,
right.
Like either we're in a predicament or we're trying to grow something or I feel like I've learned over the past 3 years more in my lifetime than I've learned my entire life probably.
Right. And I'm sure there's been some like bumps in the road too. And I gotta imagine it can be stressful sometimes because there's people like under you relying on the fact that you're gonna be there. So
yeah, absolutely. And we got like very aggressive goals too. So like we're always pushing and striving and adding new things. I mean, this podcast was literally a thought like 4 weeks ago.
Right. I saw you at IMTS doing videos and I was like, wow, you're killing it.
Yeah. I mean, we launched quick. I mean, they did the creative team did all this artwork and everything. They got all this out in like 4 weeks from just being literally nothing but a thought. And yeah, so that's one way we try to operate is just super quick in everything we do. Same thing on like our project work. We try to just bam, 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 knock everything out like quickly as possible. It's one of the things we strive for as a company is being quick because that's one thing I noticed in our industry. Things move so slow. People take months to make decisions, and we're trying to make them happen in days or hours.
Yeah, that's a good thing to have.
Absolutely. So whenever you came over to the position, now is this the position you're at now, or is this another position?
The first one I worked at.
The CNC position.
No, that was I was doing like administrative work, and that was a different shop. And then I just didn't think there was much room for growth there, and then I came to IQ.
Okay.
I'm in the marketing role now.
Gotcha.
Yes.
How long have you been in that current position?
A year and 7 months, I believe.
Yeah, 7 months.
Yep.
Awesome. So did you gain much marketing experience from the past employer, or you kind of just learned as you go at this one, or?
I would say I learned a little bit at the previous employer, but it wasn't as extensive as what I'm doing now. So I was definitely able to grab a few things that I learned there and use it here, but it's a totally different realm of what I'm doing. Like what I did there, I would just take photos of parts and post them. Here I'm like marketing myself and branding with the company and taking videos and doing all this. So it's definitely a lot, but I did learn from the previous employer as well.
Gotcha. So like as of now, you're actually like holding the camera and the one taking the video shots, and are you writing the copy and everything?
Yeah, I'm doing the editing, and it's fun because that's what I did in college, but it's definitely different.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Also, you being like in the position you're in right there, I mean, that also opens up a ton of experiences and a ton of different skill sets for you to be able to capture.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely a lot.
That was like for a couple things for me. Like one, the employer that I was at, I was doing like every job you could think of. I was doing PLC programming, robot programming, electrical engineering, project management, and all these things came from I needed to do them because there wasn't somebody else to do the position,
right?
Do the job role. And then a second thing was I launched a YouTube channel back 5-6 years ago, and it was a fitness YouTube channel. And then so through that, like a lot of my marketing came from, how to grow a YouTube channel. And so doing that research and shooting my own videos and editing my own videos and striving to grow that channel. That had like a huge impact on like my life and as far as my skills in marketing. I think it's really opened up my eyes to marketing and like the power of marketing and the importance of marketing.
Right. Yeah, and getting to know people in the industry. And like I said, I have a photography gig on the side as well. So I learned a lot of marketing from that because I'm heavy on like Instagram or Facebook. So it's like total different dynamics, different groups of people. So you have to learn how to market for different social sites. And it was a lot, but I did grab a lot from doing that. It's a total different industry, but being able to do that and know people in it as well will help you grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And also too, like whenever you're in that type of position in like the different industry, I think it adds so much more value to the position you're at now because you're getting to experience things in a different way, people doing things in a different way, wanting things differently.
Right.
As individuals than say, for instance, like a company.
Right. No, yeah, definitely. I can agree with that.
What are some of the challenges you've experienced through your career so far?
Geez, I would say some of the struggles would be just, I don't want to put this stigma on it, but being a woman in this industry can be hard. And I'm sure Jenna knows that. There are a lot of people when I first started in this industry who definitely looked down on me. They would like treat me like I was stupid because I didn't know the stuff, or I would walk into these shops and people would just look at me and be like, why? You don't belong here. What are you doing here? So I would say that's definitely a struggle, but another big struggle in this industry, I would say, is the skills gap, which I feel like so many people preach about, but there's not enough young people in this industry wanting to keep it alive. And I hate seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of one of the primary pushes for this channel is educating people on this industry.
Oh yeah. And it helps that all the education they can get and knowing that like manufacturing isn't the stigma that people thought it was.
Yeah.
It's just going to help bring more people here.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things you mentioned too is like, especially like some years ago, like you go back 10 years ago, 20 years ago, how you're talking about like, women in manufacturing. Manufacturing also had like a very, what do you call it?
This episode of the Manufacturing Come Up is sponsored by Elite Automation.
Elite Automation is a systems integrator specializing in robotic weld cell applications, and especially the design and manufacturing of the weld fixture.
If you have any robotic weld cell needs, you can reach us at rfq@eliteautomationusa.com.
Everybody was like very protective and everybody was like very territorial. It's probably a really good word for it. They were very territorial and wanting to share knowledge. And there's so many like older guys who just didn't want to share like what they knew. They're like maintenance men and stuff like that. Like they don't want to tell you how they fixed line 6. They just want to say, oh, figure it out. Oh, I don't know. And they know because they just fixed it 2 days ago, the exact same problem. I think that's dying, but also I think it was definitely a major issue in our industry in the past.
Yeah. I see that in a lot of different like roles as well, like marketing. Some people will be like, how did you do this? Or how are you getting this much interaction? Or why do you post the way you do? And there's a lot of people who are like stiff about answering that question. And I'm just like, no, I did this and this. Like we're all grown here. Like, let's just share it all.
Yeah. Yeah. They give you like some generic vague answer that doesn't really help you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I feel like we're pretty transparent on those things and on our marketing. Like also too, like for our marketing, it's like we just try to keep them simple, right? It's like, how do we capture eyeballs? How do we get the eyeballs we want?
Right.
And we speak in like a very human language like that. So that way it's like, you don't get all distracted by acronyms and distracted by, like say for like KPIs, like we have like KPIs, but like, we don't even really mention KPIs ever. We just say, hey, how our post been performing? We just, just keep it more of a human interaction, and it makes us be able to operate quickly. We have a lot less wasted time. I'm sure, like probably you like are not getting super big into KPIs if you're doing as much different job titles and positions as you are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you're analyzing like how well your stuff's performing, but you're not probably spending days and days at a time analyzing.
No, I mean, sometimes I'll look at it a lot, and I have like a tracking system where I'll put the numbers down and stuff, but just because I personally like seeing it. But yeah, I wouldn't say I spend too much time doing that.
Yeah. And you really can't too. That's another big thing. Like we're going to dive into marketing a little bit, I guess, because, you're in that position and I like marketing. But, I think that a big thing is like, so say for instance, like if you're doing as many jobs as you are, then you have to be very careful in your time because execution is huge in any team that's small.
Right.
It's like, that's a big thing I see with a lot of companies, and especially if they're already a bigger company and then they start something like a marketing department or just any other division, they start that department and they go with all the overhead structures that they have in other parts of their business.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're a systems integrator, right, you have like your project managers and team leads and all these different positions. And then they try to start a marketing team, do the same thing, and put one marketing person to do creative.
Right.
It's like you need to do the other way around. You need 5 creative people, 1 manager, maybe.
Right. Yeah. I think when I first started here, there wasn't like a marketing. Like our CEO came from a technical background, so he did that before I was here. But when I jumped into it, it was just me. And now we have our apprentice Annabella, who's doing a little bit of it with me. But it definitely helps having someone else there because it's a lot. It's a lot harder to do that than people think. Like it's not just hey, post a photo, put a caption on it. Like there's a lot of thought that goes into the process.
Absolutely. I mean, we have. I'm not sure if you've had any interaction with like Patricia on our team, but Patricia's handling a lot of our like scheduling of these things. She's handling like any like like shirts, pins, like any like things like that. Making sure like we're making forward progress on those initiatives.
Right.
And we hired her for that position only. So like all she's doing is like making sure these podcast things are happening and making sure that with we're also pushing forward more progressively and doing a little bit of research on other marketing initiatives. Like, do we still want to do billboards? What's costing of that? Like, and doing some of that analyzation of different marketing things and different ways of getting creative in our marketing. Because there's so many different things that you can market on as like a what do you call it? Like a marketing platform that some people are not even thinking. Like, you see some of those creative things that like at these events, and then they have like lanyards, and then there's a logo on the lanyard. They're paying for that logo spot on that lanyard.
Right.
But it may be a super good one because somebody may take that lanyard home and hang it up. Like we have none in this room, but yeah, we hang up some of ours too, and because it's just a cool, memorable thing. Like, hey, I went to this event. And so like that's a piece of marketing that can live on if they're an individual who's, like I said, hanging something up like that. They might hang it up right in their office and they look up every day and see, boom, there's your logo. Like, that's also a big thing too. Like, other than our social media, I like marketing that lives on into the future.
Yeah.
And doesn't have a recurring expense.
Right. That's like the hats that I have on my wall in my office. It's just, I just have them all. There's Harco, there's Haas, it's just all of it there.
Awesome. Do you have any projections on what your career looks like into the future?
Hopefully I'm still here at IQ. I mean, I used to think that this wasn't a career path that I was gonna be long term for me. And now that I'm here, I don't want to leave. So hopefully still here, hopefully still growing in the marketing and bringing in more team members, more customers, all that fun stuff.
Do you think you kind of want to lean more in towards like the management side of things, or what role would you think you would like to have as like maybe the marketing team grew out to be bigger?
I mean, I am the social media manager right now, so I don't know what more past that I could go. But I mean, the CEO and COO here at IQ, they are pushing for constant growth for everyone who's on that shop floor. So I don't see me stopping here.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I guess like the next kind of like natural thing is you'd probably get more employees underneath you then.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hopefully more people on the marketing team and pushing to keep telling people who we are and what we do.
Yeah. Like a big one that I noticed that's a little bit harder is videographer, because like you don't need them a lot of times.
Right.
But So it's like one of those things that we either try to capture the content ourselves, or if we need to, we'll outsource and bring somebody in for a special occasion to
Right.
do the videography.
Yeah, I like doing the videography, but it's like, what is it, like the panning?
Yeah.
Different shot like names. And I'm the one that's always like, oh, we got to get this, we got to get that. And then it just doesn't turn out the way I want to. So I give you guys credit because it's not my favorite thing.
That's awesome. All right, so let's dive into the second half of this podcast real quick and discuss how can we help the individuals coming into this industry.
I would say what we're doing right now is great. Educating people and showing people what this field can offer in different spectrums: machining, automation, marketing, everything. I really do think that we need to start preaching this to an educational level. Get into the schools and start telling counselors, teachers, students about it, because I feel like it's not talked about enough. Like when I was in high school, we had an ed tech center that students would go to, and they would do like teaching or whatever they were interested in. It was at this specific facility, and machining was one of them. But I don't remember touring that. I don't remember going to that. So it's like we need to push for that. Women, men, everyone. We need to push to be able to get more people here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you said like you don't remember that, and like there's a plausibility it happened, but it was one notification for a 1-day event,
right?
That, and if you missed it, or like you was like maybe you had a football game on that one day, and you decided not to go because like the football game seemed more important at that point in time.
True.
And you missed out on that whole opportunity.
Right. And then we didn't circle back to it. It wasn't like, hey, are you sure you don't want to do this? So definitely push for that. Yeah,
that's one thing we're really blessed to have in our community. So we're in Evansville, Indiana, southern Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a career and tech center here that has machining, they have automation now. They didn't have automation. So like back when I was in high school, they actually didn't have a lot of the things. Like probably the closest thing they really had was like IT back whenever I went there. Yeah, so then I ended up doing like an auto body and collision. So I went to one of those, but there was welding too. But also I had no idea I was going to go into this career path, or else that would have made more sense for what they had to offer.
Right. Yeah, and I definitely like colleges are now bringing back apprenticeship programs, which is great. IQ has a formal one with Oakland Community College here in Michigan, and we pay for the program in its entirety for the apprentices. They get raises, they earn while they learn, they work here, go to school. So it's opportunities like that need to open up more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to be forced to go into a culture where businesses have more interactions with colleges and high schools.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Where it's going to be your high school and colleges, I think, are going to have 5, 10, 20 companies that are somehow embedded within those classes or sponsorship or just something along those lines.
Right, which would be great. I mean, our chief operating officer here said that in high school they had classes like that at his high school, and then they took them out. It's like, why? Why did you do that?
Right. What's something else that you think that like could help an individual maybe find the path? Maybe they don't have an idea of a career.
If they don't have an idea of a career, I feel redundant in this, but pushing the trades, for students who are thinking that college might not be a path for them. Parents need to open up to the idea that their kids aren't going to be a doctor, which is great. I'm not degrading that at all. But there's other paths for kids who don't really want to go for that school path. So I definitely think that we need to open that idea to parents and bring it into the home as well, not just the schools.
Yeah, absolutely. I was listening to a podcast somewhere else, and the whatever word they use is much fancier than the word I have, but it meant to oppose the market, right? So like if you see a bunch of people going into college, then the next generation is going to be those who didn't go to college.
Okay.
that are having the valuable thing. And so, like, let's say, for instance, I think we're at that shift now, right? People went to college. Now it's time for the people that don't go to college, people that go into the trades.
Yeah.
Those now became a super high demand.
Yeah.
And then we'll see an inflow in our generation of over the next 10, maybe even 20 years, that people are flooding into skilled trades because they're saying 2-year degree and I make $26 an hour, $35 an hour, whatever that may be.
Right.
I mean, with a 2-year degree and like, say for like a PLC program, can make $40, $45 an hour for a 2-year degree. I mean, it's, crazy good.
Yeah. I know people who went for like master's degrees in totally different fields, and then they come back to this.
Yeah.
I love it. So
just because it's like so much more lucrative.
Right. Yeah. Like you get I don't remember what degree it was specifically, but it wasn't like, it was an office job. They didn't want to do it. So they're in this field working with robots, machines, and everything, getting their hands dirty, being able to be in a position where you're constantly moving. Cause I feel like a lot of people, well, there's some people that do and don't like it because I sit in a chair most of my day, but being able to find something that you actually like doing is important.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the one thing I don't like about my job is how much I sit in a chair. Yeah, so that's a big one for people. Like you said, I know people that did go for a mechanical engineering degree and they said, I didn't realize how much I was going to be on a computer. It's like, maybe you should have done a little research on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because people definitely have like a version of whatever their work life looks like.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Absolutely. Do you have any last valuable tips that you can add?
I guess the only one I always add is get out of your comfort zone. Like I said in the beginning, I never thought I was going to go here, and I was the shy little girl who could barely talk to like a person I've known for years. So being able to step out of that and get into a field where I'm talking to people daily and meeting people in the industry and learning something I never thought I was going to do is definitely really rewarding. And I feel like a lot of more people need to hear that. Like these success stories are what's going to help people get to where they want to be, whether it's manufacturing or not. So get out of that comfort zone. Go do something new.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Where can people find you at?
I am on Instagram, Haley with IQ, underscores under each word, LinkedIn under Haile Haupt. IQ Manufacturing is on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find us there, and then at iqmanufacturing.com. Check us out.
Awesome. And what kind of manufacturing does IQ do?
So we're a job shop. Our owners pride ourselves on being able to cut anything anyone will pay us to cut. We do a lot of work for automation, defense, aerospace, automotive. We do a lot of detail work, car molds, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's because a lot of companies, they'll focus on like key things, either key materials or key types of things. So we also will do some machining and whatnot. We're mainly doing it on like weld fixtures. It's kind of like the core thing that we're focused on. We're doing other things as well. Mainly we're facilitating our own internal needs.
Mm-hmm.
But like weld fixtures is like a big one because like they're very, very critical piece of equipment.
Right.
So I find that a lot of these companies, they find like a material or they find stuff that they're really good at working with, and that's kind of what they stick with.
Yeah, we work with a lot of different types of materials. Them all would make this podcast even longer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being on today, Haley, and I'm looking forward to seeing you around at the different events and around on social media.
Yeah, thank you guys. And I hope we can get to some more events soon. I know we talked about it at IMTS, but I hope we can all meet up again.
Would you have a next one that you're scheduled for, or?
Not yet. I know they're talking about one, but it's like next April.
Okay.
So
PAC Expo's in Chicago, I believe, in the end of the month.
Okay. That.
Yeah. Definitely maybe a different customer base, but we always tend to find our customers at events that we would think we wouldn't find customers, and the opposite for the other ones.
Right, where you least expect it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you again, Haley.
Thank you.
I appreciate having you on.
That was great.
Thank you. All right, guys.